All right, kids. I mentioned before we're going to be talking to the one and only Jay Connor. He's got a nationwide practice. Let's get right to it. Jay, 7 reasons why private money will skyrocket your real estate business. And again, at the end, we're going to be talking about something that's going to be really mind-blowing. So I really appreciate you being here.
Absolutely, Kenner. Thank you so much for inviting me along to talk about the subject I'm so passionate about, and that's private money. Why is that? Private money's had more of an impact and made a difference in our real estate investing business than any other strategy that we've implemented.
All right, well, let's get right to it. Let's go over the stuff. I mean, we only have a few minutes because we want to hit it really quickly. We want people to just dive in. So let's get right to it. Give us some of the seven steps, 7 reasons. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of reasons. In fact, my ebook that you're referring to, 7 Reasons, is really only 7 reasons of the 20 reasons that I love private money. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and dive right in. Why private money? But before I answer why private money, let me just go ahead and define it real quick. So when I'm talking private money for real estate deals, I'm not talking hard money or hard money lenders or any kind of institutional money. Private money is a one-on-one transaction between you, the real estate investor, as the borrower, and an individual, a human being that's going to loan you money on your real estate deals, either from their investment capital and or their retirement funds that they have moved over to a self-directed IRA. Wow. So first of all, why do I love private money and the 7 reasons that private money will skyrocket your real estate business? Number 1, we get to make the rules. You make the rules. Now, this was one of the first things, Kenner, I had to get my mind wrapped around when I first started raising private money, because it's a 180-degree difference of getting money from institutions or banks or hard money lenders. The traditional way to get money for your deal is you go to the bank or the institutional lender, you get on your hands and knees, you put your hands underneath your chin, and you beg and you plead and you say, please fund my deal. And you got to pull your skirt up so they see your personal assets and all your financial statement and all that stuff. Well, in this world of private money, we get to make the rules. We set the interest rate that we're offering. We set the length of the note. We set what's the maximum loan to after repaired value, all that. And so there's no applications. You are already approved. So instead of asking somebody for a loan, you're offering an opportunity is what you're doing. And so that's the first big reason, is it this world of private money puts us in so much control of our business, right? Number 2, the way I do it, you don't even have to ask anybody for money. And people say to me, they say, Jay, how in the world do you have $8.5 million in private money available to you on all those different projects, and you never ask anybody for money? Well, there's 2 answers to that. First of all, we got to have a mindset of being a teacher. So I put on my teacher hat, private money teacher, and I started. See, I've got 47 private lenders right now. Not one of them had ever heard of private money, didn't know what private money was, didn't even know about, how they could use retirement funds and self-direct those and be a private lender. So I teach people the program without having a deal associated with teaching the program. Kenner, desperation has got a smell to it. In other words, if I am talking about my program and I've got a deal that I'm looking for funding, I already sound like I'm desperate without even trying to sound like I'm desperate. So first, we teach the program, share the program, either one-on-one or, I've done private lender luncheons and raised $969,000 at just one private lender luncheon. So share the program without any kind of a deal attached to it. Once they tell us, well, here's how much I got to work with, here's what I want to start with, is it investment capital, is it retirement funds? Then here's exactly what we say to the new private lender. We say, I want to put your money to work for you just as soon as possible. And so we'll call them back up in a week or 2 with what I call the good news phone call. Well, what's the good news phone call? The good news phone call is I call them, I say, I got great news. I can now put your money to work. And then I tell them about the deal. I got a house in Newport under contract with an after repaired value of $200,000. The funding required for the deal is $150,000. That matches up to what you've got.
Mm-hmm.
Closing is next Tuesday, so you'll need to have your funds wired to my real estate attorney's trust account by next Monday. I'm going to have my real estate attorney email you the wiring instructions. That's the end of the conversation. Kendra, the most stupid thing I could say or ask is, do you want to fund the deal? Well, of course they want to fund the deal. They've been waiting for the phone call, particularly if they've moved retirement funds over to a self-directed IRA company at my recommendation. Well, their money is not making any money until I put their money to work.
Yeah.
So just so much more control. It takes the pressure off. We're not having to ask or beg or plead. What's another big reason why private money will fund your deals? I mean, will skyrocket your business and fund your deals. Well, here's another big reason. There's no limit to the number of private lenders you can have.
Mm-hmm.
And they can be in any state. And there's no limit to the amount of private money that you can be using. Kendra, when I was borrowed money from the banks, I had a limit. All I had was $1 million line of credit. And if you're going to do multiple deals simultaneously, that's going to run out pretty quick. But in this world of private money, there's no limit to the amount of private money I can be using. Another reason that private money will skyrocket your real estate investing business is because the way I do private money, we never have to take money to the closing table. We
even better
pick up a big check because we're able to borrow more money than we need to purchase. And if you're going to be doing any rehabbing, then we get all that rehab money right up front. Kendra, let me catch my breath and see if you want to drill down on any of those reasons I've said so far.
No, those make sense. I mean, the bottom line is it's control. No, freedom and control. That's what you're really known for, I would say, is freedom and control over your own money, your own situation. And real estate investors should really like that, basically. Am I correct?
Absolutely. I mean, it does. It gives you so much because we're setting the interest rate. Like I've been paying my private lenders 8% ever since 2009 when I started raising private money. Another big reason that private money will skyrocket your business, and that is how fast you can close deals. When I was borrowing money from, the banks and institutions, then it was going to take weeks, had to get appraisals. There's another big reason in this world of private money. We don't even have to get appraisals. I just use my realtor's comparative market analysis. So I'll tell you a short story on speed. Just a few short weeks ago, about 8 weeks ago, I had a Google pay-per-click respondent to our advertising on Google. And the person that owned the property, it was a third-story oceanfront condominium right here in Atlantic Beach, North Carolina. Well, guess what? Here's where his two motivations, and the point I'm getting ready to make here is speed. His two motivations were, first of all, he inherited the property, lives out of state, has no interest in using the property. So absentee owner and it's inherited. All right. This big motivation, Kenner, is it was going to the courthouse steps to the foreclosure sale in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, right? He had inherited this property from his parents, and both of them had passed away. So guess what? I closed on that deal in 5 days from the time we got the initial phone call. I used private money. If I didn't have private money available, I would have missed out on that deal. I bought that for that condominium, oceanfront, beautiful. Looked like you're on a cruise ship looking out the windows. I bought it for $425,000. The renovation was a whopping $11,000. All it was interior paint and some sheetrock repair. Put it in the multiple listing service, and I cashed it out, $628,000. And so I netted, after realtor fees and carrying costs, I netted $160,000 just on that one deal. What's the moral of the story? If I hadn't had private money ready to go, ready to close quickly, I would have missed out totally on that deal.
Yeah, speed to market. I mean, speed to cash. That's really important because if you go to a bank, offense against bankers out there, but it could take months, 6 months, whatever the case is, and you would have lost out in that deal. You would have lost out in some of that profit.
Absolutely. So, I mean, you can't make money in slow motion.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I don't know what number we're on, but I think we're moving forward, just like I asked, and I appreciate that because I think at the end we're going to be talking about something that's going to be of value to a lot of people who are both watching and listening.
Absolutely. So, as I said, we're in control. We're setting the interest rate. We are doing the underwriting. We decide how we want to protect our private lenders.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason this is so important is because you want to be able to build that relationship and that reputation of looking out for your private lenders. So, how do you look after your private lenders? Well, we don't borrow unsecured money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I understand.
We always collateralize the notes with the real estate that we're purchasing.
Property. Yep.
Yep. And so we have a conservative loan to value. So we're going to do a maximum loan to value of 75% of the after repaired value, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to name them on the insurance policy as the mortgagee. So that's
Mm-hmm.
give them another layer of protection. But now let me give you all these reasons I'm giving are very, very important.
Yeah.
But here's a big one. Here's a big one why I love private money and why private money will put a big check in your checking account very, very quickly. And here it is. Don't miss this. We always bring home a big check from the closing agent when we buy.
That's a good thing, right?
Talk about fixing your cash flow. It's very common. It's very common for me to bring home a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 check and take none of my own money to the closing table when I'm buying a property. So let's unpack that. I mean, when I first learned this, that made absolutely no sense to me because prior to this world of private money, I always had to take money. I always had to take a down payment, 10%, 20%, whatever, to the closing table to purchase the property. Well, let's follow the math. The reason I'm able to bring home a big check when I buy is because I'm buying these properties at discounted rates. So when my maximum loan to value is 75% of the after repaired value, I didn't say 75% of the purchase price.
Mm-hmm.
The institutional money, banks, they are loaning you loan to value based on purchase price.
Yeah, there's a difference, big difference. Yep.
Big difference. So let's do an example. Let's say, let's go back to that example I gave just a moment ago. Let's say I've got a house with an after repaired value of $200,000. Well, if it's got a rehab of 30 or 40,000, I'm going to buy that house for no more than $100,000, right? 50% of the after repaired value. Well, follow the math. If it's got an after repaired value of 200,000 and I can borrow up to 75% of the after repaired value, then I can borrow $150,000. So follow the math.
Yep.
If I'm having a private lender wire for the closing $150,000, that's 75% of the after repaired value. They're wiring in $150,000.
$150,000. Yep.
If I'm buying it for $100,000, that's $50,000 overage
over and
above the purchase price. And my favorite phrase on my real estate attorney's check stub is excess cash to close.
And that's a good thing in this case.
Cash.
Yeah.
So I'm bringing home less closing costs. I'm bringing home a $50,000 check. Who wants to get paid to buy properties, right?
That's exactly, in your case, that's exactly what's happening, basically, right?
Yes, exactly. So now, of course, I'm going to use the majority of that $50,000 for rehabbing, maybe carrying costs, utilities, etc., until I'm getting ready to cash it out. But I don't know a quicker way to get thousands and thousands of dollars in your checking account than buy a property at a discount and use private money to fund it and bring home money.
Yeah, obviously your guide, 7 reasons why private money will skyrocket your real estate business makes sense. So, and I know there's more. I have an idea. I know there's more here. There's a lot to unpack based on what we've already talked about. And even the secret down the road that we've been teasing. I say we do a second portion, a second part of this, and then we kind of basically have you come back and chat about the remaining elements of the 7 reasons why private money will skyrocket your real estate business, and then also talk about the thing that's hopefully going to be a big news to the marketplace. How's that sound?
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Well, everyone, obviously I'm excited about this. Jay is a big name in the marketplace. You've already probably heard a lot about him with all the innovative strategies that he has with respect to real estate. So we're going to do a second portion, a second part that's going to add value to you, the real estate entrepreneur. Once again, this is Kenneth French, Bass Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. Thanks a lot for visiting with us.